We've got some breaking news tonight that the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, Eric Seibert, has told his office he is resigning after increasing pressure from Donald Trump. Sources tell MSNBC that staffers in the office were distraught at the news, some even crying when they found out. Now, Seibert's resignation comes as Donald Trump has become increasingly frustrated that Seibert would not prosecute the New York Attorney General Letitia James on trumped-up mortgage fraud charges. He had refused to charge because his investigation could not bear out the accusations. The resignation came after Trump was asked directly about the issue in the Oval Office just a few hours ago and said, quote, "I want him out."
Are you disappointed that the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia has not prosecuted Letitia James? Do you intend to fire him?
Well, we're going to see what happens. I am not following it very closely. It looks to me like she's very guilty of something, but I really don't know. I know that the U.S. Attorney from the Eastern District, or from that district in Virginia, that he was approved by two Democrat senators who, in my opinion, are among the worst.
So you want him fired? You want him out?
Yeah, I want him out, yeah.
Harry Litman has years of experience in the Department of Justice, having served as U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Pennsylvania, in Maine Justice as Assistant Deputy Attorney General, and actually worked in the Eastern District of Virginia as a Special Assistant District Attorney 20 years ago. And he joins me now. Harry, I think, we have become so inured to this kind of thing. But if you take a step back and you say, President orders political prosecutions of his political enemies, the U.S. attorney who he appointed refuses and gets fired, pushed out for it. That's an administration-consuming scandal at any point in the last 50 years.
Look, it was close to an administration's consuming scandal in 2006 when it was much less serious. But no AUSA or U.S. attorney could ever be inured to this. It is their highest obligation, their oath. They swear their constitutional duty. Never, can't do anything worse than indict someone without evidence and have to go to court and lie about it, et cetera. When the U.S. attorney, and by the way, his first assistant, reaches the same conclusion and says there is not sufficient evidence to indict, and the president of the United States says, she looks pretty guilty to me, I'm not following it very closely, it is more than an assault on the office. It's an assault on the cornerstone of prosecutorial practice. It's not a surprise that the office, as will the rest of the country, be absolutely distraught that that could happen.
Yeah, and just the details here can get a little weedsy, and we did a long thing on it last night, but if you scratch the surface of the allegations here, that they found one document that was a power of attorney document that her niece was using to be there for the signing and had nothing to do with the actual loan application, that there is no way to make a case here. This is so far from possible criminal conduct. So it's not like this is kind of a borderline case. You've got a guy who actually had a good relationship with Emil Bovee, according to, all reports.
Tried to save him, right?
Yeah, and this is a reporting from inside that the Justice Department actually is trying to save the guy. The expected ouster
He's
came
a very
after...
well-regarded guy, 15-year veteran stuff. But Chris, borderline or not, I'm telling you, for whatever reason, the top person in the office, the second person out says, no evidence here. I don't care if it's close or not. For a political, and no one higher than the president, say, they're my enemy, go back and do it again, is the biggest, most central derogation of the biggest, most important cornerstone duty of any assistant or prosecutor. This is just trashing the entire office, the entire practice, everything anyone there stands for.
We've seen in other places, and this has been a theme, prosecutors who do seem willing to go along with really, really dodgy prosecutions on really, really bad factual and legal foundations. That's happened in Los Angeles and District of Columbia. And in those cases, we've been seeing grand juries. I think there's 7 or 8 now doing the thing they never do, essentially, which is return a no true bill, right? The whole cliche about being able to indict a Sam sandwich. So in the places where you've had prosecutors seemingly go along with, which seem to be, frankly, political prosecutions, they've been hung out to dry by grand juries doing their democratic duty.
Which, as you say, happens basically never. But for whatever reason that something like this would occur, when we're talking about the professional judgment, is there sufficient evidence to indict, as the Constitution requires. Yeah, that's one of the 26 bad things that could happen here is you bring these cases, judges don't trust the department as much, the jury doesn't trust the department as much, but it's just more fundamental than that. Eric Siebert, raise your right hand, tell the court that this person is guilty when it's a lie.
Right.
You really should throw your law license in the Potomac. Nothing could be worse than what they're trying to jam down his throat. So he would have walked, I think, even if they didn't make him run.
This is the reporting from New York Times that this has been a sort of battle internally, that Attorney General Pam, I mean, just to give you a sense of how far out we are here, Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General who runs the day-to-day operations, had privately defended Mr. Siebert, sorry, I misspoke earlier, Siebert against officials including William Pulte, who we profiled last night, the director of the Federal Housing Finance Agency, who had urged he be fired and replaced with a prosecutor who pushed the case forward, according to senior law enforcement official, meaning Bondi and Blanche are on the right side of the law, apparently here, if this reporting is to be believed and the sources to be believed, and we're so far off the rails that they are being overridden by apparently Trump and Bill Pulte.
For no reason. For no reason. So Trump, who says I haven't followed it very closely, or tries to suggest it's, Democratic opposition, and you're right about what Polke has to say. So again, here we're just at the dead epicenter of a prosecutor's duty. So it's why they're being overruled, and that the fact that they are. This is no sort of fairly serious thing. This is the absolute biggest insult you could lay on an office. I don't know what goes forward now with that office, with other offices around the country, with courts where people are indicted on close calls, and you have to trust that the DOJ has done it cleanly. You're going to see lots of motions all over the country about Trump doesn't like him. That must be the reason. But again, the basics of what they're doing here is just anathema to a functioning prosecutorial system.
Harry Litman, thank you.